just got to grab a pencil. Hello, welcome to the Bonsai Show. This is, sad to say, our last episode this year. Tasks in bonsai become a little sparse at this time of the year, so we're hopefully going to set you up for the rest of autumn and winter. We will be doing a festive special, but beyond that, we will be back in spring with more enthusiasm, more tasks, more bonsai, and more bonsai. But the first task that we're going to get on with today is all about free material, free trees, and really we're looking at gathering those from seeds. Now is a great time to be going out, searching your garden, possibly your neighbours and friends' gardens with permission, hedgerows. All of these sources offer potential seeds for trees going ahead. Here we have a very small selection that I've gathered within a couple of minutes of taking a look around our nursery. And for example, we have firethorn, pyracantha. We have acorns from oak trees, and although they're not the most desirable of material for bonsai, they are great for practice nonetheless. We also have some slight oddities. This, believe it or not, is a crabapple. It is the smallest crabapple you can get. Malus micromalus, or the Japanese term or name is Kaido crabapple. We actually have one tree of this material here that produced fruit. Most of those have already gone into a pot with some compost, and hopefully come next year we will have some free material. The other fruit that I'm holding is from a Japanese quince, and this is somewhat similar, that if you cut them open, inside there are fruits. I will leave this to one side for a little bit of footage later on, because the typical way that we prepare all of this material in the main is the same. There may well be some differences, but anything which is happily grows in the UK, or certainly native to the UK, then the best method is to simply put it into a pot with compost and leave it. Hopefully the autumn winter, with the drop in temperatures and then the rising again in spring, will be enough to bring those seeds out of dormancy and give you new material. But there are some seeds that you purchase that require a little bit of different treatment. So these seeds are the Iberian pear, the Pyrus bugiana, I think its Latin name is, if I've pronounced that correctly. And these are required to soak in water for 24 hours, warm water that is, at 15 degrees. So they've just been put in water, in a little bag of water, and left in a warm room for that period. And really, beyond this, there is nothing more difficult to preparing them than simply tipping them out over compost, making sure that we've got them all, and we'll put a thin layer of compost over the top and put a date on them, just for our own reference. So, Iberian pear, November 22. Now, some seeds will require stratification, that is putting them in the fridge, possibly in the freezer, and then thawing them out. But the leaving seeds out throughout our autumn winter achieves the same result. So at this time of the year, for the vast majority of these seeds, then pot them up, put them out in a relatively sheltered space so that they don't blow over or get eaten by birds or squirrels, I guess, and that is it. So that's that. What we will be moving on to next is preparing your tools for next year. That's cleaning, sharpening, and putting them away in a nice safe place so that they're ready for hopefully extensive use come spring next year. Now that we get to that time of year, we really need to look at putting our tools away for the winter, and part of that is making sure that they're well maintained, cleaned, disinfected, oiled and stored safely, ready for pulling back out of storage for use in spring. Now, I've actually bought in the pair of scissors that has been floating around the nursery that I use, and these are one of my favourite pairs of scissors, so obviously we need to make sure that they are well looked after. The state of these scissors: we have pine resin over quite a bit of them from some of the pine work that we've been doing, and what we're first going to do is use one of our cleaning blocks to just rub some of that off, and we're using this block flat against the steel, not the edge, because that will blunten more than anything. We'll do the other one, and we're always working outwards doing this. We're then going to look at the outer edge, and again we need to make sure that we're only working outwards and away from the blade rather than running that over the sharpened edge. Okay, the next task will be to use a sharpening stone on these. I will just go and retrieve mine. It's been soaking in water for around 10 minutes, which is the recommended time. So these kind of sharpening stones have two edges, one which is usually 800 grit and one which is 400, and the higher that number, the finer it is. And what we're going to do with these scissors is sharpen that outer edge. We don't sharpen the inside of the scissors, and what we do is position the scissors so that we can get in there and push them away from us, and around 5 or so on there should be sufficient. And the same on this side, keeping the same kind of angle that's already there. And then if need be, we can move to the smoother side for the same kind of treatment. We can do a quick check afterwards to make sure that these scissors are indeed nice and sharp, and I'm happy with that. So the final actions with these tools is to use a antibacterial spray and simply spray the blades, give them a good wipe, make sure that you get all of that off. And finally, to apply a little oil to the blades. And you can dab off any excessive oil. But that is the process for cleaning tools. Secateurs are very similar. There's no real difference in the way that we approach them. These will now be put away for us to bring back out and be put to good use in the spring. If, however, you're looking at new tools, then obviously the festive period is a good time to put them on your list, whether it's for yourself, a list that someone else buys you, or a list that you want to buy for other people. And I should add that on our website, Beachville Bonsai website, we do have a Christmas gift list, Christmas gift guide for bonsai enthusiasts, and you're welcome to take a look at that. But things that aren't specifically mentioned on that list, things such as books, and obviously books are a very subjective thing, and some people still buy a lot of books, and I'm one of them. So this is my very quick guide on books that I think should be on your list. The first one is a book which is about 2 years old now, from Morton Albeck, specifically on showing trees. The art of showing is somewhat different from other trees, and the beautiful thing about this book from Morton is the quality of the photographs, for one, which makes it appealing whether you're just browsing the book or actually sitting down to read it with one of your favourite drinks. But Morton is a photographer by profession, so you would expect that the quality of those would be up there. I'm next going to cover a couple of old books. They've been around for a very long time, and believe it or not, you could probably pick either of these books up from eBay or Amazon for quite cheap, and by that I mean probably less than £5 delivered. So it's well worth taking a look on Amazon or eBay. But the first book here is a book that one of the first books I purchased, actually, along with the next book. And it's a book by Dan Barton. The thing that I like about these books, and I'll start with this one, is the Dan Barton book, Definitive Guide on Bonsai. It includes case studies on trees that Dan owned and worked on over that period, as well as all of the styling techniques and indeed treatment to get the desired effect out of trees. So this one has to be on your list, as does the Complete Book of Bonsai by Harry Tomlinson, another book which has been around for a very long time, but I would certainly recommend putting it on your list if you haven't already got it. The next book is by Harry Arrington, The Foundation of Bonsai. This particular book is another one of my favourites, and I must say I probably have 50 bonsai books on my shelf. But again, it is very beautifully illustrated with photographs, all from Harry's collection, and is a absolute essential for your reading list. The last but one on this list is Japanese Gardens by Monty Don. It accompanies a DVD series, so if you want to buy both, again, they're available on Amazon. You should be able to pick those up, and it makes a little bit of a difference, specifically looking at Japanese gardens rather than just bonsai, which a lot of bonsai enthusiasts tend to move into. So another one, not as cheap as some of the other books, but a very good book indeed. And the final one I would probably have to say is to plug my own book, Be More Bonsai. It is in reality a well-being book, which includes bonsai information and tips and advice. But this is available from Amazon at the moment, and well, I'm going to say it's well worth adding to your collection, aren't I? So now that we've got that out of the way, there's amongst the full list on the Beachfield Bonsai website, there are other things such as tools or additional tools, courses that you can purchase from Bonsai Empire, which are again always worth a good look at, amongst many other novelty items for the bonsai enthusiasts, particularly ones who are out in cooler weather. But we're now going to go over to an interview that John Armitage undertook for us at the Bonsai Show Live in Telford. So let's have a look at what he has to say.
Hi, my name is John Armitage. I'm one of the demonstrators at the Bonsai Live 2022 show. I started bonsai when I was probably a young teenager. I was into anything sort of Japanese at the time. I started karate at the same time. Still do a little bit of that, but really more into my bonsai now than anything else. I've been doing it professionally and as an amateur for the best part of 30 years now. I really like the nurturing side of developing the trees. I like the showing side of it as well, the exhibition like we've got today. But I would say it's the nurturing side more than anything else. So going out, seeing your trees every day, watering them, looking at how well they're doing and dealing with problems from time to time. But you can be really, really involved in nature, which is really, really nice. Certainly, I mean, bonsai need care and attention, irrespective of what you're doing in your life. So you can have a really rough time, and you might be very focused on your own problems and your own self, but bonsai makes you think about something else, think about the tree. They still need care and attention. Whether you feel you want to do it or not, they still need care. So it gets you out of that almost far too self-reflective feeling scenario. Everybody has traumas and problems in their lives, and bonsai can help deal with that. It certainly has done for me in the past with all sorts of things, from just job, bereavement, family problems, all sorts of things like that. You can just get out of it and you can do something creative and positive. My daytime job is working for the court service, so it's not really that positive a lot of the time, but the bonsai is something that's really nice and creative and meaningful for me. I would probably, say never, the biggest thing is never buy too many that you can't look after. Try to buy less, but buy better if you're buying anything at all. I've always been interested in shohin bonsai, which are the smaller size of trees. For me, that's achievable. When we look at the trees here today, most people would never be able to achieve something like that. But with the smaller sizes of bonsai, like the little small trees that we have here, these are actually achievable by most people. And if all you've got is an 8-foot balcony, you can still get 100 trees on there and have something for every season, for every time of year. And I think this is like an achievable kind of bonsai. Irrespective of time, space or money, people can still do shohin bonsai.
So before we wrap up not only this episode but also this season, and continuing on from festive gifts, as part of the Bonsai Show Live 2022, we had 2 pots that were commissioned for us. One by Andy Pearson at Stone Monkey, and another one by Graham Simpson at Dragonfly. And we're going to auction those 2 pots off as on eBay for charity, and the proceeds will be split equally between Payrus, which is a suicide awareness and prevention charity, and Mind for mental health. I will post links to both of those auctions in the information below this video, and I'm sure that they are both very beautiful additions to anyone's either pot collection or bonsai collection. But hopefully these 2 generously donated pots will do some good out there. So before we draw an end to the season, it's quite important, as with kind of New Year, I don't really do resolutions, but I do a bit of a retrospective look at what we've achieved, sometimes what we haven't achieved, and what we can then do in the coming seasons. From a nursery perspective, we've achieved a lot. The nursery still has a lot of work that needs doing to it, but it's come a long way. And some of those areas, for example, some more landscaping. We want a new demo area, adding in just here to the right a little bit later. But what we have managed to do is not only bring the nursery along, the trees that we have along. We've launched this YouTube series, and we managed to pull off the Bonsai Show Live 2022. Now, whilst that will be an event that runs every 2 years, and 2024 is the next planned one, we are also moving to a 1-day event, which we'll be looking for May next year, 2023, and we will publish information on that. But when we actually think of what we have achieved, I think we pretty much well ticked off the list, and we have still some tasks to do, but I don't think we can be too critical of what we have achieved. And before we finish this episode and this season, and ironically we finish it in exactly the same place that we started this one, I would firstly like to thank people for viewing, subscribing, liking, commenting, and also really to all of the people that have helped both myself and the nursery to pull off all of those things we've talked about over this year. And a final parting note, really, that on our website, on the Beachfield Bonsai website, we will publish a list of charities and helplines that you can contact if you feel the need to over the festive period. And I hope that that isn't a necessity, but people certainly locally know that if they need that little bit of space, that little bit of peace and quiet, whether it's to come and sit or work on a bonsai, they're more than welcome to come down here to the nursery. But regardless of your situation, I'd like to wish you a great festive period, a great new year, and we'll see you again in 2023 back on the Bonsai Show.